on a beautiful Monday morning right here in Marque, Texas, and I have some guests in studio. I'm going to kick this on the FM. If you're watching, if you're in Galveston County, go ahead and share this out. If y'all have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, feel free to let us know if you're on social media. And I'm going to kick this on the FM right now. Here we are. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy, and I am excited because I have some guests in studio. I have Mr. David Jordan, and I have the Chief of Police right here in Marque, Texas, Chief Kirk Jackson. Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all doing today?
Great. Good morning.
Thank you.
You know, I'm excited that y'all are here. I had messaged Colleen and said, hey, we have a new assistant city manager in the city of Marque, and I don't think I've had the opportunity to meet him yet, so you're here. So can you kind of introduce yourself to us and then let us know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's David Jordan. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. I joined the Air Force in December 1989 in law enforcement and traveled around the world. Landed in San Antonio, Texas in 2006 and retired there in 2014. I retired from the Security Forces Headquarters Air Force Center, which basically was an action officer, which all the law enforcement incidents and so forth throughout the entire Air Force was filtered to our headquarters element, and we were able to analyze those situations and ensure policy and procedures were followed and so forth. And we also received direction from the Air Force top cop, the general, and we would push out those directives to our law enforcement agencies throughout the world. So
awesome. So whenever you ended your military career, you were in San Antonio still?
Yes, I retired from Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio.
Okay, so San Antonio and then our area, Marque, the Houston area. What's better?
Actually, Marque is better because there's a lot of water. We can go fishing and, a lot of trees. I can get out in the country pretty quick. So.
Coastal life, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you're in Marque. This is a brand new position as far as I understand it. Right. What kind of roles are you going to be playing with the city?
Right. So I'm going to be Director of Public Safety, which means basically going to oversee the police department, fire department, and emergency services. I'm excited about this opportunity. Thank you for the invitation. Excited about this opportunity to work with Chief Jackson and Chief Weidman from the fire department and get to know the community of Marque a little bit better.
All right, so we got Chief Jackson. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
How has it been so far? So Mr. David Jordan, working with someone directly, helping and trying to make sure that we're doing the best that we can right here in our area. How has it been?
Well, that's been very good. Communication's been fantastic between us, and Mr. Jordan's bringing a lot to the table, a lot of insight and a lot of new, fresh ideas. So it's been really good.
It's been good. Okay, and I saw something in the news. There was a big press release. There was this effort that took place across so many different departments. What happened?
So what that was a collaborative effort between all of the local law enforcement agencies, but that's not a new thing, though. We've been working with other agencies to combat criminal element in our communities for quite a while. And this area that we're living in, we've got several different municipalities that are responsible for their geographic area, but the communities are seamless.
Right.
You can drive for 15 minutes and go through 4 different cities, and you don't even really know that you've gone through different cities. So it's one big community that is policed by all these different municipalities. So we have to work together to address these issues. The difference with this operation was that it was under the umbrella of the U.S. Marshals Office, which brings some added tools to the operation and reduces some of the complications. In other words, all the participating officers were deputized U.S. Marshals, which means they were operating under the U.S. Marshals authority, and they didn't have to worry about a Marque police officer operating in another city or another city operating in Marque. We were all working together, doing this as one cohesive unit. So to answer your question, this has been going on for a while. It just wasn't going on as a U.S. Marshals operation. So that operation, quote unquote, ended, but the operation hasn't stopped. We're still out there. We're still doing those things. We're still going after folks. It probably won't be as visible as it was before, but it is still ongoing. So
yes,
so what it was one big law enforcement operation under the U.S. Marshals.
You know, there's a lot of people on social media. I talk to them and they say, I wish that everybody would just be more visible and clear on what's going on and what incident happens. Is there a reason why you cannot do that? Can you share?
Yeah, absolutely. So if an incident happens, we conduct an investigation and we know a lot about it. But if we go releasing certain aspects of the investigation, we don't want the other people who were responsible for these acts to know the information that we know. So there is information we are going to release. And if there is a matter of public safety, then we're going to release that information that we can. But there's going to be information that we're not going to release because we don't want the bad guys to know we know what we know. So we're going to release what we can release to the citizens, but there's going to be operational information, and there's going to be knowledge of the criminal investigation that we just cannot release out to the public.
Okay. You know, the other day there was a meeting at the Lamarque gym.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of press there. The community was invited. It was a really nasty and cold day.
It was.
Which was unfortunate because there was a lot of people that came, but I think there was a lot of people that wanted to come, and we were able to help and live stream everything so more eyes were able to get on it. But do you think that was a good community event? Is there plans for more in the future, these forums where people are able to talk and meet their officials?
Yes. I think it was a very good event, offering the opportunity with adequate spacing for us to get in the same room and see people face to face and meet somebody and talk to them instead of communicating by email or by phone or by social media. Because, you know, when you have that disconnect, you can't really communicate. You can only deliver the message that you want, and the other person returns it. But there's no opportunity for dialogue. So I think that's why that meeting, that community meeting was so good and so beneficial, that when you can actually meet the person who you're trying to communicate with, it brings a whole different level to that interaction. That personal level to that interaction.
And I think a lot of the times people, like, you want the same thing as the citizens of Lamarque. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, we want the same goal. Absolutely. How can we work together?
Right.
So we have Assistant City Manager and the Director of Public Safety of Lamarque, David Jordan, here in studio. If I understand, I don't think you were officially on staff with Lamarque yet. Maybe you were, but were you at that?
Yes.
That meeting?
Yes, I was at the event. Was not officially on staff with the city council as far as being approved for the approval. But yes, I was at the event. It was a great event, a great first start. When I retired from the Air Force, I was on the city council in my local town of Leon Valley, which is a suburb of San Antonio. I was on there for 2 terms, and I was also a city manager. So I bring a very unique skill set to the table when I have these kind of events, and I have an understanding of the political aspect as well as the operational aspect of running the city. Chief Jackson is absolutely correct. You know, number one message for public safety is communication. You know what I'm saying? It's about relationships, relationships with the community and the city administration, relationships with your neighbors, relationships with neighboring cities and counties and so forth. That's what it's all about. So long as the communication is going and people have an understanding of, you know, who we are, and we have an understanding of who they are, then a lot of times a lot of misunderstandings are minimized and they can be talked out.
Mr. Jordan, if somebody wants to reach out to you, are you open to meeting, having a phone call, or talking to them in a safe manner?
Absolutely, yes. My phone number is 409-934-4010. That's the City Hall phone number. And I can be reached, or my email is d.jordan@cityoflamarque.org. We have plenty plant things in store as far as the city is concerned. We plan to see a lot of these initiatives are not new. They've already been in place, but somehow they kind of slid by the wayside. So we're going to reinitiate our neighborhood watch programs to get people in the communities, getting to know their neighbors once again, know who belongs in the neighborhood, who lives in the neighborhood, and who may be passing through. We have other initiatives in place to get the community out speaking with one another. But right now, the elephant in the room is this pandemic called COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we have to, of course, be careful, very careful, practice our social distancing, wear our mask, and so forth, and it don't allow us to congregate like we normally would be able to and would like to be out in the community.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, and I don't look at the numbers, to be honest, as much as I did whenever it first, like a year ago, almost a year ago, whenever they first came out. But Lamarque seemed to be doing very well, at least at the beginning. Is Lamarque doing well as far as, I guess, like business-wise and numbers-wise? And what can we do? I know you just listed a bunch of things we can do better, but what are some things that we can continue to do better?
I'll let the chief speak on the numbers-wise. He's been tracking the numbers for us.
You're talking about the COVID numbers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yes, the COVID numbers, I think we all heard about the second spike that happened, and it was forecast to happen. You had the spike in July back during the summer, and then you had another one there at the end of the year. And looking at the positivity rate of the second spike compared to the first spike, the second spike was so much worse. The second wave of the infections was so much worse than the first one. But I think that it could have been even worse had we not learned our lesson from the first go-round, that everybody needs to do everything that they possibly can to limit the infections or the risk of infection, getting infected and infecting others. Now, if you go around to our businesses, you're always going to have some people who don't want to wear a mask. You're always going to have some people who don't care about social distancing. But for the most part, our businesses are doing a really good job at minimizing the risk of impact to the citizens, minimizing the risk of exposure, while still ensuring that businesses operate. So, I mean, I don't. This has affected everybody financially. This has affected businesses. This has affected individuals. Folks have lost their jobs because of this. But all in all, I believe that Lamarque has done a pretty good job at trying to minimize the impact to the citizens, minimize the impact to the businesses, and we're going to power through this. And at the end of the day, I think that we're all going to be stronger and smarter.
I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of Lamarque business people and go and visit and just shout them out and interview them, however and whenever I can. And they have been so happy with the way the city, the EDC, the community has come together to support them in a way that is not in every city around us. And I love our county or other places in the nation, but they are very thankful for the leadership that we have in position that have been there to support, even the chambers, coming together and offer support, like, hey, what can we do to help? Because at the beginning, we really didn't know. It's like, yeah, well, we need business, but okay, what can we do right now to help so that way we can keep these businesses in Lamarque? And we have opportunity for growth in Lamarque, and Lamarque is growing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Mr. Jordan, is that one of the things that attracted you to this area? Have you looked and seen the growth in the numbers? COVID aside, whenever we get through this and power through and find a way to get on, is that one of the things that drew you to this area, or what else did?
Yes, absolutely. There's great opportunity here for growth and development, economic development, as well as, we want Lamarque to be a place where people don't just pass through, but they come to live, play, and to work, Lamarque is a small town, but we have a metropolitan city, which is Houston. So, we have great opportunity here. As you heard, Amazon's coming on board, and we have 14.5 miles of prime real estate I-45. So that was one thing that drew me here. Absolutely.
The
opportunities that are are limitless here.
Tomorrow I'm going to have some more Lamarque information coming out with an official City of Lamarque release. I'm going to get the chance to interview some people talking about what in the world's coming to I-45, like right out the window over here. I'm excited. It's going to be really, really cool. Okay, so one thing that Mayor Keith Bell has said, and I just got to say a big thank you to Mayor Bobby Hawking for his 10 years, a decade of service. I saw the Galveston Daily News, the newspaper, and had his face on there. So his daughter was watching. So thank you, Mayor, for everything that you've done and continue to do. So Mayor Keith Bell, he just got into this position. He has served, I think, the city of Lamarque for, like 17 years on city council or so. He has said that that the plan is to be the safest city in Texas, in America. So how do we do that? Are we on the right path? And do you agree with that? Can we do that? Can we achieve it?
We are on the right path. It's going to take everyone. It's not just a law enforcement. Public safety is just not a law enforcement issue. You know what I'm saying? It's a community issue. It's a regional issue. You know what I'm saying? So, like we said, one step, and you can be in another jurisdiction. So, criminal elements come in and they do their thing and they leave. So, those things are sometimes hard to track. But if we all work together, jurisdictional wise, city wise, and especially in this community, keeping each other safe. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. We have to take care of each other, have to watch out for one another, have to, like I said, open up the lines of communication. And if the trust has been faded away for whatever reason, we have to regain that trust between the city administration and the community and the city administration. It's a two-way street. And my mantra is, if you see something, say something. Don't post it on social media, but if it's a criminal, call law enforcement right away and give us the opportunity to address the issue. But yes, Lamarque can be safe, and Lamarque is safe, and we're going to ensure that it stays safe.
One thing that Mayor Bell has said, as it goes by and the studies show, these people aren't from Lamarque. Right. A lot of the times they're passing through. What's going on, Chief?
Yes, exactly that. So, and as I said earlier, this is one big community, okay? Lamarque, Tech City, Galveston, Hitchcock, it's all one community that, and folks come and go. So the quite a few of these individuals who've been perpetrating these crimes, they're not from Lamarque. They're from Galveston, they're from Tech City. I mean, some are from Lamarque because, like I said, this is one big community. So it's, and Mr. Jordan mentioned it, it's going to take the community to fix these issues. We as a community cannot take our foot off the gas. We have got to keep the pressure on, and we've got to keep, if you see something, say something. If there's something going on in your neighborhood, if it's normal. If it's unusual. And if if you see something going on in your neighborhood that is just not right, call us. Because if you think it probably isn't right, it most likely is not. So call us and let us look into it. But we cannot let our foot off the gas. We as a community together, collectively, need to keep the pressure on these folks and make sure that they know they're not welcome here. Okay?
Yes, sir. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy. I'm talking to Chief Kirk Jackson, and I'm talking to Assistant City Manager and the Director of Public Safety in Lamarque, David Jordan. So we're talking about, see something, say something. I know even like there's a Crime Stoppers program. Here's something, and it's not just Lamarque. This is something in the world that I've seen on social media, Instagram, in celebrities, all the way down the street. It's not cool to tell. They're like, that's a snitch. You don't do that. It's just like a way of the world. And I don't know how, because it's not just a Lamarque thing. It's a world thing. But I don't know how to fix that. And I think that's the challenge, I suppose. Do y'all have any thoughts on that? Like, what do we do?
Well, for me, the hypocrisy, it eats at me. You cannot say that you want a peaceful, cohesive world and community that is where everybody's safe and everybody is prosperous, but at the same time, I'm not going to say anything when I see a crime committed. You just cannot do that. If you're that's contrary. Those two ideas they're contrary to each other. So, and I'm not saying you pick up the phone and you say, this is John Doe who lives at this address and this is what I just saw. Now, if you want to do it, mad props. Hats off to you. But there's other avenues. You mentioned it. Crime Stoppers. Okay. What Crime Stoppers is a private organization. Now, they are not a City of La Marque department. They're not a department of Galveston County. They are a private organization ran by citizen volunteers who have volunteered to serve on the board of directors for Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers is an organization that receives information from tipsters confidentially. You are guaranteed anonymity when you call Crime Stoppers. You are not a person, you are a number. You report that information to the Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers will then relay it to the appropriate law enforcement agency who has absolutely guaranteed and protected by law. So you hear the name Crime Stoppers a lot, but I don't think a lot of people really understand what Crime Stoppers is. But Crime Stoppers is there to provide cash rewards for information that leads to the arrest of people who are responsible for crimes. It's there to help rid our communities of the criminal element. And I really want people to take advantage of that.
All right. So Crime Stoppers, that's a great option and something you can take advantage of. And, if you don't want your name out there, I see people like Tracy Steens, who I had the opportunity to meet years ago. She's, volunteering in the community, 409 Stop the Violence. They're creating these organizations and saying like, hey, this is our city and we want it to be safe. What else can individuals do? Team up with people like Tracy, or just get involved in the community watch. What else can a normal person do?
Absolutely. It's like I said, this issue is broader than law enforcement. It's a community issue. It's going to be like boots on the ground type, neighborhood to neighborhood, friend to friend, person to person, mentor to mentor type of situation. That's public safety. You know what I'm saying? Public safety is a broad umbrella. You can't just define it in one word or two. It takes all of us to ensure that our public stays safe. So people, community leaders, pastors in the community, they have the masses, right? They have the mass congregations. We can partnership with the pastors. They have great influence in the community to talk to the congregations, talk to the families, talk to whoever needs to be counseled, and we can bond that relationship with the city administration to forge a relationship that's even stronger for public safety. That's one message that I have. I'll call all pastors to come together and to help. It's a issue of morality. It's an issue of economics. It's a whole broad umbrella that needs to be addressed before we can fix the issue. But it takes everyone. We can't just fix it by ourselves. It's going to take everyone to come together as a community to ensure that we are the safest community, to ensure that we are a united community, and to ensure we are a prosperous community.
Yes, sir. Chief Jackson, is there anything else you'd like to share this morning?
Yes, actually I would. So, and we touched on it. Well, we really, really touched on it, but it's taking the community to solve the problem, right? Well, what better way to be part of the solution than to be part of the solution? So the La Marque Police Department is one of the very few agencies in our county that I will hire somebody as a cadet and put him in the police academy to be a police officer for your city. Now, what that means is we are a civil service agency, so you sign up and you take our test. Now, if you're selected and you have not yet been through the police academy, I will hire you as a cadet. I will pay you a cadet salary. I will pay for your tuition. I will pay for your books. I will pay for your uniforms. Your full-time job will be to go to school. We are going to be having a test coming up probably around the end of March. I'm trying to finalize the details about it right now. But I would encourage anybody in a community, if you want to be part of the solution, but I will also add this caveat. If you want to be a police officer, you have to truly have a desire to serve others. You have to have the mentality of being of service to others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jordan and I both know it with military backgrounds. You have to have that desire to serve, and police officers also have to have that desire to serve. If you have that desire to serve and you want to be part of the future of Lamarque and serve the citizens of our community, be watching our social media pages for our next civil service entrance exam posting, and come be part of the solution.
Is there a way to study or touch up on what kind of stuff is in there, or no?
No, our civil service test is not a police. It's not police matter. This is a general knowledge test to make sure that you have the problem solving skills, the vocabulary, the reading comprehension, very, very basic math. Because I don't need you to launch a rocket. I need you to go out there and solve problems. So it's a general knowledge test. And we will post a study guide, if you will, which kind of gives you the ideas of what kind of questions are going to be on there. But it's a general knowledge and vocabulary, like I said. Now, the last test we gave was a little, in my opinion, in retrospect, was a little too heavy on the math. And I don't, like I said, I don't need somebody to be an engineer. I need somebody to be a problem solver for the community. So the test is going to be a little bit different than the one last time. And I encourage anybody who wants to be, maybe law enforcement is something that you thought I'd want to do, but you never really had the opportunity to do it. Come on, take the test.
Is it maybe similar to like a military entrance exam, like a general?
It's been a long time since I took the ASVAB. It's been a long time since I took the ASVAB, but
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have the general, and you have the electronics, and you have the mechanical. And
see, like, hey, where are you going
areas.
here? Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay, so that's going to be sometime in March. If you want to be a part of the solution here in our area, and that sounds like a great deal, paying for all your school and your training and everything, and you can be right here in your hometown, or maybe you live here now, or you just want to be a part of the solution. So, Mr. Jordan, is there anything else that you'd like to share this morning?
No, just to reiterate what the chief has said, if you want to be part of the solution, also contact my office. I will also be reaching out to some local pastors and leaders in the community to establish a relationship, start the communication, and continue to make our city safe.
All right. Thank you so much for joining today, both of you. And I appreciate y'all. If there's ever anything I can do, please reach out to me. Or I'm definitely going to want to share out that information whenever more of it becomes available about the City of Lamarque Police Department hiring as well. So thank you for y'all's time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.